Good evening, everyone. Myself Gautam Sharma. I welcome you all in a Sapiens Education. So today I am going to discuss about the part 9 video of the prism. So what is prism? So let us understand what is the prism. So prism, the basic structure. If you see or observe the three-dimensional figure, so prism will be like a tent-like structure. So this is the structure of the prism, right? So this is the structure of the prism. Got it? Now this is your triangle face. So how many triangle faces will be there? So definitely it will be two triangular face. Face and four rectangular face. Rectangular faces. Now what this angle is known as? This angle is known as angle of incidence. Angle of incidence. Right? So when we observe a front view, so let us consider this is our front view. So we will discuss all the derivation as with respect to front view only. So let us consider this is A, B and C. So this we will consider as angle of prism. Angle of prism. Okay. So I hope you have understood this. Now let us derive some of the formula regarding with respect to the prism. So first of all, you need to understand that here what I have done. So this is a prism. This structure, whole structure is a prism. Okay, and light get incident on this. And when we talk about the surface AB, so this is your AB surface. Okay, before that you need to understand that A is your angle of prism. Angle of prism. Air, it is your rarer medium, and glass, it is your denser medium, right? Glass is a denser medium and air is a rarer medium. So what will happen when a light rays, so this is your incident light. So when light rays incident on the surface AB, so what happens? It makes an angle of incidence I1 from this normal. So let us consider this is a normal N1, and from this normal, so what will happen? Light should move in this direction, but what happens? It bends toward normal when it passes from rarer to denser medium. So when it bends toward normal, so what happens? It is making an angle R after refraction. Now again, when it reaches to the second surface, that is AC surface, so what happens? AC surface, it is making an angle of incidence, that is R2. Now, as per the rules, whenever light goes from denser medium to rarer medium, so it should bend away from the normal. So it should trace this path, but due to when it is changing the path from denser medium to rarer medium, so what happens? It bend away from the normal. So it bends away from the normal. I understood. So this is what happens. Now we will consider some of the things. Now see, this is known as angle of deviation. Why this is known as angle of deviation? Because earlier the light part of the light was this, but after refraction, so this after refraction through the prism, light has taken this path. So how much angle has been deviated? So delta is known as angle of deviation. Delta is known as angle of deviation, right? Now, now we will consider what is angle of deviation, how you will find angle of deviation. So let us see here angle of deviation. So angle of deviation will be equal to sum of these two opposite angle. Which angle? This angle. Let us consider this as a delta 1 and this is a delta 2. This is a delta 2. So sum of this angle, opposite interior angle, is equal to the external angle. So delta is equal to delta 1 plus delta 2. Now delta 1 is how much? See here, this is delta 1, this is R2, and whole angle is equal to I2, and this is delta 1 and R1, and whole angle is I1. So from this, delta 1 can be written as I1 minus R1. So from here we can easily say that delta 1 is equal to I1 minus R1, and delta 2 is equal to I2 minus R2. I2 minus I2 minus R2. Got it? Now when we add this, so this what will happen, I1 plus I2 minus R1 plus R2. So this is known as angle of deviation. Okay, this is known as angle of deviation, right? So this is angle of deviation. Now what is R1 plus R2? We should understand that this angle is 90 degree, this angle is 90 degree, 90 90 180 degree. So the angle of prism and this sum of this one is how much? So let us see here, sum of this both angles. So let us consider this is your P, this is a Q, P, and this will be Q, and this is your let us consider this is your C, angle C. Okay, now what we need to understand that use the quadrilateral formula, that is equal to angle of prism plus angle PCQ is equal to 180 degree. Now what is angle PCQ? So we can also say that angle PCQ plus R1 plus R2, angle PCQ plus angle R1 plus angle R2 is equal to 180 degree. So in place of PCQ, what we can write? R1 plus R2, 180 minus R1 plus R2. So definitely from this two equation, what we can write here, angle A plus 180 minus angle R1 plus angle R2 is equal to 180 degree. 180 180 got cancelled out. So from here, angle of prism can be written as R1 plus R2, both angle. Now put this here. So finally what we are getting, angle of deviation is equal to I1 plus I2 minus angle of prism, right? So this is considered as angle of deviation. Got it? I hope you have understood this angle of deviation. Now the thing is that we will consider all angle, we will now apply a Snell's law. We will now apply a Snell's law. So as per Snell's law, now Snell's law, in the same triangle we can use Snell's law. What is Snell's law? Mu 1. Let us consider the refractive index of air is mu 1 and the refractive index of glass is mu 2. Refractive index of the glass is mu 2, right? Mu 2. So mu 1 I1, mu 1 sin I1 is equal to mu 2 sin, like this. So we will use this now, using, see here, we will use Snell's law. So by using Snell's law, we can write mu 1 sin I1 is equal to mu 2 sin R1. Mu1 sin I1 is equal to mu2 sin R1. We can write. Why we can write? See, try to understand. This is the angle of incidence and R1 is the angle of refraction. So as you know that Snell's law, so mu1, this we can write. Now assumption is that, angles are very small. Angles are very small. When angles are very small, so we can write here mu1 I1 is equal to mu2 R1. So from here what we can write, I1 is equal to mu2 by mu1 into R1, or we can also say that I1 is equal to mu2 to the power 1 R1. So this is the formula we can write. Also when we talk about this one, this side, so R2, so earlier incident angle is R2 and a refracted angle is I2. So we can directly write like this, mu2, we can also write mu2 sin R2 is equal to mu1 sin I2. Now again angle is very small, so we can write here mu 2 R2 is equal to mu 1 I2. Now from here mu 2 by mu 1, mu 2 divided by mu 1 is equal to I2 divided by R2. Or from here we can say that I2 is equal to mu 2 1 into R2. So this is one of the equation. Got it? Now what we have done earlier derivation, what we have done earlier derivation for the angle of deviation. So angle of deviation is equal to I1 plus I2 minus angle of prism. So I1 is equal to mu 2 1 R1 plus mu 2 1 R2 minus angle of prism. So again mu 2 1 is common, R1 plus R2 minus angle of prism. So from here what we can write, R1 plus R2 is your angle of prism only. So mu 2 1 angle of prism minus angle of prism. So from here angle of prism is common and mu 2 1 minus 1 is the angle of deviation. This is the angle of deviation. This is the formula for angle of deviation for the prism. Angle of deviation for prism. Okay, so I hope you have understood this. Okay, now let us consider minimum angle of deviation. So what is happening here, as you increase the angle of incidence, so angle of deviation will what, angle of deviation will also decrease. But at a certain time what will happen, suddenly if you increase furthermore angle of incidence, so angle of deviation will start increasing. So the minimum angle at which minimum angle of incidence at which minimum deviation is there, so the angle of incidence, it has been observed that angle of incidence at which the minimum deviation occurs is equal to angle of incidence is equal to angle of emergent, right? So what happens, angle of incidence in this case, for the minimum deviation, for the case of minimum deviation of prism, what happens, and I1 will be equal to I2, R1 is equal to R2. So let us consider this I, and R1 is equal to R2 is equal to, we can consider as R. So from here R1 plus R2 is equal to A. So from here R2R will be A. So from here angle of refraction is A by 2. So we can do this. Got it? Now see here, angle of deviation, when angle of deviation is minimum, so this will be equal to I plus I minus A. Now from here 2I is equal to delta minimum plus A. So I will be equal to delta minimum plus A divided by 2. So this is angle of incidence. Now as we know that mu1 sine I is equal to mu2 sine R, we can do like this. So from here what we can observe, that mu2 by mu1 is equal to sine I by sine R. Now I we have got, R we have got, just you can put here. So finally what we can get, mu 2 to the power 1 is equal to sine I means sine of delta minimum plus A by 2. So from the here I can put the value divided by sine of a by 2. So this is the case of a minimum deviation. So I hope you have understood this. So from here we can further end the topic. So this is all about the prism. Thank you for watching my video.